What up, what up, what up? It is your friendly neighborhood Malzini. I am back with episode 3 of Break It On Down. This is the web series where I will give the backstory and a couple of lyric breakdowns on songs from my new album, Famous Last Words, which was produced by Drugs Beats. So, let's get on into it, man.
They used to call my pops booby. Wasn't there for me and it did something to me. Grew up isolated, socializing, don't.
So today we're going to be getting into the track called On My Mind, which features the homie Eternal DMC. Wearing his merch today. Shout out to Eternal DMC for the t-shirt. Hit him up, get yours. This track was actually the last song I recorded for the album. I recorded it back in late June. Yeah, I recorded it back in late June, and the verse, my first verse, my only verse, is actually a verse that I wrote back in 2018. That verse was for a song on a project that never really panned out. It's just, one of those things where life be lifing, and, me and the producer just kind of got caught up in other things that were going on with both of us, independent of each other at the time, and we just kind of lost momentum on the album. But the song was completed. I might release it, probably not. But when I heard the beat, I was like, man, this verse, I don't know why I thought about that verse, but I said this verse would go really good on this track. So that verse is verbatim the same verse from 2018 that I wrote. I don't usually do too much lyric breakdowns in the previous 2 episodes, but since I only have one verse on this one, 116 bar verse, I'm gonna break down the lyrics and I'm gonna separate it into the 4 quatrains that are that are part of the song. And for those of you playing at home who don't know, quatrains are 4 lines of poetry. In this case, a rap verse. I'll get down into the lyric breakdown. Those first 4 lines are, they used to call my pops booby. Wasn't there for me and it did something to me. Grew up isolated, socializing don't move me. Outwardly withdrawn from the pack like a Lucy. So in the first line, they used to call my pops Booby because my dad's nickname really was Booby. Again, I wrote that verse back in 2018, so it's really hard for me to go back and say, oh, this was my inspiration for starting out the verse that way. I have no idea, but it just seemed like a cool way to start a verse. So that was kind of pretty self-explanatory. The second line, wasn't there for me and it did something to me. Again, self-explanatory. I grew up without, my dad in the household. I did get to know him later on in my 20s, but for the formative years and early adolescent years, he wasn't there at all. And that has an effect on anyone, not having 2 parents in the home, 1 from a financial standpoint, and 2 just from having someone else you can learn from, aside from just the one parent or the one parent and the one sibling or whatever. The third line, grew up isolated, socializing don't move me. I've said it in the previous 2 episodes. I probably say it on a whole lot of songs that I'm an introvert and I really love my me time. I thrive being alone. So I've never been the social butterfly. In my 20s, partying was not my thing. Going to clubs was not my thing. I'd rather just hang out with my few close friends or just by myself, and I'm perfectly cool with that. So socializing is like, I can do without. Outwardly withdrawn from the pack like a Lucy. Most of Lucy's are single cigarettes, so withdrawn from the pack. I don't really follow crowds. I kind of tend to do my own thing. I'm kind of cool. I'm cool on being part of the cool kids. I like to do my own thing. So I'm withdrawn from the pack like a Lucy. So the next set of 4 bars is, half my family perfect strangers never really knew me. I'm Larry Appleton with the outrageous roomie. While my peers was at the movies watching Sandlot and Goonies, I was in my bedroom pulling magic out of loose leaf. So being that I didn't really know my dad growing up, most of that side of my family lived up north in Delaware, Connecticut. I knew a few members of that side of my family, but nowhere near, the amount that maybe the average person might know. So I didn't really know that side of my family. They knew and slash know, because I'm still alive, thankfully. They know who I am, like, oh, that's Booby's son, that's Simp's son. But they don't really know me. So, half my family, perfect strangers, never really knew me. And then for my 80s babies, the next line, I'm Larry Appleton with the Outrageous Roomie. That's going back to the Perfect Strangers part, the TV show Perfect Strangers, early TGIF. That was a dope show. Balky Bartakis, Meepos Dance of Joy, while my peers was at the movies watching Sandlot and Goonies, I was in the bedroom pulling magic out of loose leaf. So, like I said in the Native Sunshine video on episode 1, I didn't really get out much. We didn't have cable or anything like that from a small town, so we didn't really go to the movies like that, and we didn't have cable. So if we were going to watch a movie, we had to wait till it came on regular TV. And then if you recall from that previous Native Sunshine video, we only got a couple of channels, so I ain't really watched TV like that. So I didn't get to see The Sandlot when it came out. I didn't get to see The Goonies when it came out. I saw these a little bit later, like a lot later. And I was always kind of just in my room doing my own thing, drawing, writing, just kind of having fun malls time, so, which goes into the third set of, my third set of quatrains, which is the more things change, the more they stay constant. Try to stay sane while slaying all these monsters, anxiety, depression, all too familiar concepts. Learn to deal with stress through healthier responses. So, the more things change, the more they stay the same. When I was a kid, I was in my bedroom, writing, drawing, whatever. And now as an adult, I'm pretty much, at least now in my house, my apartment, writing, drawing, just kind of chilling by myself. So that's, that's that. That's the more things change, the more they stay constant. I talk a lot about mental health. I've been talking a lot about mental health in my songs. I am someone who suffers, with depression and with anxiety. So, I bring it up here, trying to stay sane while slaying all these monsters. I kind of refer to anxiety, depression, self-doubt, and all that stuff as monsters. Anxiety, depression, all too familiar concepts. Try to stay sane through healthier responses. So it's dealing with these things and living with these things is it's a constant fight. You have your good days, your bad days, you have your therapy, you have your medication. But every day you have to be ready to deal with these things, because you never know when, these negative thoughts will come to you, or you'll just start feeling, lethargic, or just not feeling your best, So that was kind of a nod to that. It's just something that I deal with, and something that a lot of people deal with. It's an everyday fight. And when I was younger, I didn't really have healthy coping mechanisms when I felt these things. When I felt my anxiety, I would withdraw even more than I'm already withdrawn. I wouldn't speak to people. You wouldn't see me, now I have my faithful few friends that I could kind of go to when I'm feeling really anxious. And, it is not even about them making me feel better. It's just connecting with someone that I know cares, I have much healthier responses to whenever I'm starting to feel depressed. I'm an emotional eater. If I was feeling low, I would turn to food and make me feel better. If I was feeling happy, I'd turn to food to celebrate, or just, things like that, as I get older and I continue to work on my own mental health, you find healthier ways to deal with these things. So the last 4 bars of my verse, I ended off with, my conscience is telling me to stick to my guns, though my banknote says I'm insufficient with funds. Told myself I hang it up when this shit ain't no fun. 10 years in the game, I feel I've only begun. And again, it's the I'm kind of playing off of that, healthier responses thing to deal with the anxiety, depression, but I'm also talking about being an indie artist. I think a lot of indie artists, especially rappers and people who do music, have this internal struggle that they have of like continuing to pursue your art and your passion, but realizing that this shit just don't really pay like that, and the return on investment is usually very, very minuscule. So it's, my mind tells me like, yo, you got to keep doing this. This is what you love. This is what you feel gives you purpose in life, and this is your legacy. This is gonna be here long after you're gone. But then, when I have to make those decisions of, well, do I put gas in my car so I can go to work, or do I buy food so I can eat? When you have to make those decisions, it makes doing your art or whatever it is that you do really difficult. So you just have to, it's an internal struggle for the starving artist. Something else about me, like, and with a lot of artists, we have quit in our minds so many times, so around the time that I do remember this, around the time when I wrote the verse 2018, I kind of decided, like, I told myself I was going to quit. This is going to be my last project, whatever. And I just realized, I'm like, you know what? It's not going to be my last project. But when there is no more joy in making music, then that's when it's time to hang it up. So that was me kind of telling myself, because that's what I said. Told myself I hang it up when this shit ain't no fun. And, I've been doing this professionally for a little over 10 years. So I'm still having fun somehow. So told myself I hang it up when the shit ain't no fun. 10 years in the game, I feel I've only begun. And it's crazy that I can even say that I've been doing this for more than 10 years. And having younger up and coming MCs come up to me and calling me OG, because I feel like I ain't an OG. But then I think about it, it's like, wow, to them I am, so that's wild. So that was the breakdown of the verse. And then the hook comes in, just some shit on my mind, some things that I was thinking in this moment of time, just some shit on my mind, getting lost in thought, never know just what you will find. It's just kind of summarizing. It's basically summarizing how I approached writing this song. It's just random thoughts, none of these sections, together, it's not about one certain thing, but these are 4 separate thoughts that come together for one verse. It's just some shit on my mind. So I have been wanting to get Eternal on a song for a long time. I've known this brother. He was, one of the first people I met when I moved to Raleigh back in 2009, 2010, something like that. So I've been meaning to do a song with him for a long time. We've been on songs together. We've done countless shows together. He's had on me on one of his projects. And so when it comes to collaborating and getting people on my project, it's more than just, oh, I think this person's dope, let me put them on this song. Like, I have to have something that I feel like this person would shine on it. Like, this beat was made for this person. I could hear this person's voice on it. I could hear their style on it. I think it could bring out something that they have that, can showcase them. And so when I heard the beat, I was like, okay, I think this is the one that I could finally get Eternal on my album. And the funny thing is, I do remember maybe a week or two before I started working on this song, Eternal hit me on Twitter. It's like, yo, Malls, I need to get on the album. So I hope he doesn't think I was just placating him. I wasn't. Like, it was really just to like, yo, you belonged on this song. And he wrote his verse, I think, in like a day or two. Like, it was a super quick turnaround. And then he came to my studio and was like, yo, Malls, I'm ready. And like, you could hear how ready he was, when he was, starting his verse off. And I think he did it in 1 or 2 takes. I think it took 2 takes, and it wasn't even because he messed up the first take. It was just one of those like, all right, let me do it again, and we could pick which one is the best one. So Eternal just took off, and he shined all over that track. And so, you know, a lot of you guys know, if you've been following my career and listening to my music for a while, I usually stop at 2 verses. Before it became the popular thing to do, I've always been about no wasted motion, being succinct, saying what you got to say and getting on and moving on. If I write a 3rd verse, it's because this song I have more to say, basically, and it needs this 3rd verse. I actually wrote out a full 16-bar verse to go after Eternals for my 2nd verse, the 3rd verse of the song, but I just decided to just not use it. And it may show up later on in life for something else, but just not use it on this song because I just felt like Eternal ended his verse, and it's just the perfect way to just, you know, put the icing on the cake. You know, it was just the perfect way to end this song. So there's a little clip, you know, of someone talking at the end of the song. And that came from, I was watching a documentary, and Abby Lincoln, the jazz singer, was talking. And I recorded this clip way before I even heard the beat for this song to make the song. But I just hear things in documentaries or TV or whatever I'm watching, and I'm like, oh man, that sounds dope. And if I'm able to rewind it so I can record it, I'll just pull out my phone, put it up to the TV, and just record it. I recorded this segment of this documentary with Abby Lincoln speaking, and I was like, that's so dope. It has to go on something. And I just kept it in my phone for a long time. And after Eternal did his verse, I was playing it back and just listening to it. And then that's when I was like, you know what? That Abby Lincoln quote would sound really dope at the end of this. Instead of having a third verse for the song, which is not really needed, I'm gonna have, you know, Miss Lincoln just put that cherry on top. The icing's on the cake. You know, Eternal put the icing on the cake, but Miss Lincoln's the cherry on top. So that's the song, man. That is On My Mind. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't done so before, go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Famous Last Words is out everywhere you get music. I got a purchase link down in the description. I'm not sure why I'm pointing down there, but you know where the description is. It'll be my Bandcamp link. I still got physical copies left, so if you like CDs, you like having physical copies, something that you can own and possess and take with you in your journey of life, I still have a few of those left, so hit me up. Famous Last Words, produced by Drugs Beats. Everywhere you get music. Check y'all out next week, man. Peace.
It's just some shit on my mind. Some things that I was thinking in this moment in time. Yeah, it's just some shit.